Live from the CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is CBS2 News at 5 p.m.
Today's a tough day for the men and women of the Long Beach Fire Department. We're in mourning. He's a staunch family man, good husband, good father.
Veteran Long Beach Fire Captain Dave Rosa shot and killed in the line of duty. It is our top story tonight. Captain Rosa, another firefighter, had rushed in to help residents after a call at a senior housing complex.
Yeah, they had no idea a gunman was inside. That gunman also shot and wounded another firefighter and a civilian.
Here is the latest on the investigation. Police arrested a 77-year-old resident, Thomas Kim. He's accused of murder, attempted murder, and arson. 2 explosive devices were also found. Police are still determining a motive.
And we have team coverage on the story tonight. CBS 2's Greg Mills is live in Long Beach at the station where Captain Rosa worked.
But we begin with Dave Lopez with disturbing new details as investigators just wrapped up a press conference. Dave.
Well, Pat, for the first time in the history of this city, a firefighter has been killed in this manner. Now, they have had firefighters killed before, but it was off duty, never in this instance, and certainly never shot while responding to a fire. According to police, 45-year-old Long Beach Fire Captain Dave Rosa had just reached the 2nd floor of the Covenant Manor Retirement Center when he was shot and killed by a resident, a senior citizen.
The suspect has been identified as 77-year-old Thomas Kim, who is also a resident of this building.
The chief said he's charged with murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and arson. The scenario, he says, is that he purposely set a fire in his 2nd-story apartment and then waited for the firefighters to arrive. Waited with this revolver, which was recovered at the scene.
Today's a tough day for the men and women of the Long Beach Fire Department. We're in mourning.
Cell phone video taken from across the street by this man.
And they were just carrying him. They didn't even have a time to wait for a stretcher, and they loaded him right onto a fire truck.
He described that Rosa, who had been shot, was carried out by other firefighters, and they didn't even wait for an ambulance. They rushed him to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. 35-year-old Ernesto Torres, a Long Beach firefighter, was also shot, but the 12-year veteran was just grazed, treated at the hospital, and released. A 3rd man, identified as a resident of the building in his 70s, no name given, was also shot and remains in critical but stable condition.
I heard a gunshot, and there's a man sitting on the stairs with a gun in his hand, just kind of looking at the gun.
Investigators say the explosion from the fire had been put out by the sprinkler system by the time firefighters arrived. Rosa had received information that there was a strong odor of gas coming from the building. He jumped off his rig and started heading up to the 2nd floor. And detectives say that's when he was shot.
I don't know his name, but I know I've seen him before, and he does live in our building.
But what was Kim's motive? Detectives say that's what they're working on. They don't know if he has any history of mental illness. He does have a record, but it goes way back, more than 20 years ago. Auto theft. Now, at age 77, he's charged with murder, the killing of firefighter Rosa. His bail is also set at $2 million. Now, I asked the chief if he can describe the scenario and how Kim was arrested. He said all he can tell us that Kim was somewhere in the building and offered no resistance when he was arrested. Back to the studio.
Okay, Dave, thank you so much. We, of course, have team coverage on this. CBS 2's Greg Mills is live at the firehouse in Long Beach right now where David Rosa was a captain there. Greg?
And Jeff, this was his station, station number 10 in Long Beach. All day long, people have been coming by and dropping off flowers and notes. One man came by simply to kneel down and pray.
He's a hero, and it's a tragedy.
Today, a procession in honor of this hero, 45-year-old Captain David Rosa. He headed up Long Beach station number 10. Firefighters from other stations were brought in to cover for their grieving colleagues, so Rosa's crew could salute their leader. Flowers were left in Rosa's honor at the fire station. South Pasadena Police made the trip here. LA City Fire. Most, though, from civilians, with handwritten notes of appreciation and admiration. The flag flying over Station 10 was taken down by firefighters. One told me this flag will be given to Rosa's family. Rosa's family, including his parents, were in this procession through Long Beach, from the hospital to the LA County morgue. A family friend said Rosa's mother was in shock. His dad, very stoic. Michael Nalaska was there for the solemn journey.
It was very upsetting. Everybody was really upset, but there was a lot of support when we were waiting for all the vehicles to come by. Everybody was honking their horns and waving. There was a lot of support from the community.
This San Juan Capistrano neighborhood is where Rosa lived with his family. Michael Nolasco said he coached Rosa's son in hockey and said Rosa saved friends of his in 2 separate incidents, including this one.
He saved my friend's life. He was a victim of a robbery, gunshot wound, and he performed CPR and brought him back to life, saved him.
And firefighters we spoke with here at the fire station, his fire station, say, oh, they simply are in a daze today. One man said, hey, we're just not used to this. Understandable. Pat and Jeff, back to you two.
It certainly is. Thank you, Greg. At an event today to honor fallen firefighters, the death of Captain Dave Rosa was on the minds of LA City Council member Mitch Englander and LA City Fire Chief Ralph Terrasis. They said this could lead to a change in training.
To think about that, you're going to be walking into that one of our firefighters could possibly be walking into not just a fire but a gunfire, not just an active fire but an active shooter, is a game changer.
I don't have any answers right now. We're just going to have to encourage our people, motivate our people, teach our people to be thinking about potential what ifs.
Stay with CBS 2 News for continuing coverage of this story throughout the evening. You can get the latest information anytime on CBSLA.com.
Now to some breaking news in La Crescenta. A natural gas leak prompted evacuations today. It happened in the 5000 block of La Crescenta Avenue.
A water crew was digging and accidentally hit a gas line. Dozens of residents were ordered to leave. The gas was shut off in the area. People have now been allowed to return home. No one was hurt.
And tonight we're learning new details in the murder of a father at a Calabasas campground. Police releasing the identity of the 35-year-old man who was shot at least once early Friday morning. Well, they confirmed that Tristan Bodette was killed inside of a tent with his 2 children. Campers say there had been shootings near that site in the past. Investigators say that they are aware of the violence, but they found no evidence the father's killing is related to those shootings.
Caught on camera, a bizarre break-in at a pharmacy in Costa Mesa. Police say the burglar cut through a rear wall and crawled into the store around 3 this morning. He searched the shelves and drawers for prescription drugs without setting off the alarm.
Yeah, he took narcotics and cash, we're told, then slid out behind a refrigerator. A business owner next door noticed the hole a few hours later and called police. Costa Mesa police say a few days ago another pharmacy also burglarized. It is unclear if the two are related.
The White House continues to defend its immigration policies as we get a new look inside a tent city housing children. The Department of Health and Human Services released this video today inside the Tornillo tent facility near El Paso, Texas. Yesterday, President Trump said people caught crossing the border illegally should be deported immediately without going to court or any due process. Today, he said he didn't regret signing the executive order to stop separating families.
The executive order was great. It was something that I felt we had to do. We want children staying together. We want a system where when people come in illegally, they have to go out.
The administration's zero tolerance policy remains in effect, but the head of U.S. Customs and Border Protection says he has temporarily stopped referring adults for criminal prosecutions when they cross the border illegally with children.
A small Virginia restaurant is at the center of controversy today after the owner asked White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders to leave. She was dining with her husband and several others at the Red Hen in Lexington, Virginia, Friday. A restaurant owner took her aside and asked Sanders to leave. Owner cited concerns of the employees. Well, Sanders tweeted out about that incident over the weekend. Then today at the White House, she fired back.
I was asked to leave because I work for President Trump. We are allowed to disagree, but we should be able to do so freely and without fear of harm. And this goes for all people, regardless of politics. Some have chosen to push.
The president tweeted this out today. The Red Hen restaurant should focus more on its cleaning and filthy canopies, doors and windows badly needs a paint job, rather than refusing to serve a fine person like Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I always had a rule: if a restaurant is dirty on the outside, it's dirty on the inside.
The president also lashed out at California Congresswoman Maxine Waters of Los Angeles. She called on supporters to harass Trump administration officials. Here's what she had to say.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
The president tweeted, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, an extraordinarily low IQ person, has become together with Nancy Pelosi, the face of the Democrat Party. She has just called for harm to supporters, of which there are many, of the Make America Great Again movement. Be careful what you wish for, Max. Maxine Waters hit back today.
Trump is the one who's creating lies, trying to have people believe that I talked about harming people. There's nowhere in my statement, anytime, any place, that we talked about harm.
Coverage of the latest from Washington, D.C. continues tonight at 6:30 on the CBS Evening News with Jeff Glor.
Californians now will decide whether to keep the new gas tax and vehicle fees or scrap them come November. A gas tax repeal will be on the November ballot. The Secretary of State Alex Padilla said today that the initiative supporters collected enough valid signatures to qualify to be on the ballot. Republicans support the ballot measure while Governor Jerry Brown has blasted it, calling it a flawed and dangerous measure pushed by President Trump's allies in Washington. The governor says the $5 billion a year revenue is needed to maintain roads and bridges.
In trouble with the law.
Yeah, why actress Heather Locklear was arrested again.
Plus tragedy in San Bernardino County. 3 people, including 2 teens, are dead and their mother is injured after a car hit them on a sidewalk. What caused the car to lose control?
This woman don't want to let a little girl sell some water.
Video goes viral of a woman calling police on an 8-year-old girl selling water without a permit. What the woman, now being called Permit Patty, has to say about her actions.
And 8,000 acres and counting. The latest on the out-of-control wildfire burning in Northern California.
Hi, everybody. I'm Garth Kemp. Wow, looks nice out by the beach. The weather is on the way.